Hey Gemini, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings, so we're going to take what works and leave what doesn't, as with everything in life. If I don't catch your wavelength here, check your other major placements. We are starting with the Oracle decks of Work Your Light and Urban Crow, and then we're going to move on to a more traditional tarot spread with the Tarot of Mystical Moments. And if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button because it makes me happy and it helps other people find this channel. All right. Okay, Gemini, we got our two plopped into my lap here, right into my lap. And then the Urban Crow. What I find interesting about these two decks, working with them together, is that Work Your Light is so light, so pastel, so generally positive, and Urban Crow is dark and brooding and overcast Seattle skies, and it's more it allows for more of the more difficult, I'm not sure about that, but more difficult aspects of life to come through. So Oracle cards can sometimes be very positive, and I love that because we all need that, but also sometimes there's some missing things, missing messages there. So I like the combination, even though they're very jarring together. Okay. Yeah, I'll say so. Let's start with the Crow here. So we've got three, speaking of dark energies, we've got three kind of darkish cards here. We've got Night, so a time of rest, taking a break from something, taking time out to rest, recuperate. Resting is preparing, so we don't need to say it's the separate thing, or we definitely do not want to be dismissing it as meaningless, pointless, and non-productive. It's extremely productive, of course. So time out. There's a time out here, a rest. We're not engaging with this, with something right now. We're sort of taking a break. We also have Battle and Wrath. So these two go together. Wrath to me is it has a sense of justification, of provocation. Someone here has been provoked and is standing their ground, standing up for their territory. It's a time out from normal life, from the normal, here's how we normally are, going along, getting along, but some toes have been stepped on and some anger has been inflamed. So anger, I do love this red here because anger is such a red emotion and it's got so many sharp edges and so much difficulty to it, both in the expression. It's very difficult to find socially acceptable ways to express anger. It can be very difficult to accept the anger that we have within. It's an incredibly difficult emotion and feeling to work with, but you may be feeling very provoked right now and extremely angry about something, which is interesting because we've got this rest card, this taking a break card. So you might be taking a break from this battle, or these could be talking about different aspects of your life, or maybe, there's a break in the battle, there's a rest period in something that you've been struggling with for a long time. But that anger is also super important. We call it a secondary emotion. It's usually, the ego or the stronger cover up for some sense of vulnerability or shame or some more delicate feeling. So instead of wanting to feel that, sadness or that vulnerability, we erupt in anger because that has such a power to it and a push to it. That's not to say, though, when we call it a secondary emotion, that's not to say it's a lesser emotion. It's an absolutely crucial emotion, and I guess I don't have a lot of patience for the feeling that, how I was talking about how the light card, the Work Your Light, is so light and airy, and this brings up wrath and battle, right? And some traditions or some people hold that these are negative emotions and bad emotions to be avoided. I completely disagree. I think that vulnerability deserves to be protected with that anger. It's all in expression and in whether we're going to set up camp and we're going to root and have a house in the land of anger and have a home in the land of anger. So anger is the one of the most difficult emotions to deal with, to process, to express. So there's some battle and there's some wrath here, and there's a long ass lecture about anger. I've had a lot of difficulty with it, so I have something to say about it, with allowing myself to experience it and express it. and learning how to express it and accept it, right? It can be one of those parts of our shadow selves, very angry, but if we don't want to be, especially men are more encouraged to experience anger and to express that. Sometimes men, that's the only emotion they're allowed to express. Women are not to express any anger. I grew up with the trope of the angry woman. The last thing you want to be is an angry woman. So then what do you do with all of that? Because it's there and it's real. So how do you do it? I did not learn, and I had to teach myself. So anyway, so I'm passing on some of what I've learned here with the wrath and the battle and fighting and defending yourself and defending, some toes have been, battles aren't all just bad, we sometimes do have to, go to the mat and we do have to stand up for ourselves. We have a right to protect the vulnerable parts in ourselves. Not only a right, but a duty really sometimes. So we also have luck. So I like this because this is reminding of a reading that came in last week where something shifts, something changes, and you're no longer in the battle. Like some sort of thing that's out of your control, that just falls from the sky. So it could be relating to this battle and getting a lucky break in something that you're having to fight, something that you're struggling with, getting a lucky break there, or that changes the dynamic here and helps you get out of this and maybe even take a break from this battle. But it could also be some other aspect of your life, some sort of blessing just sort of happening, coming into your life. The luck to me is stuff that we don't control, and this is definitely referencing some good luck. So it's just those things outside of our control where we weren't expecting it. We didn't necessarily... we want to prepare for good luck and bad luck. So that's my little lecture there. And then getting grounded. Getting grounded. You're grounded. That would definitely be like a night card here. Getting grounded. But time out. Actually, it's not that far. Like taking some time out. You're on a time out here. You and your siblings have been squabbling too much, and now you got sent to your room. You're going to bed early. It's time out. Possible. So connecting with nature, taking some time alone, rooting, meditation. I mean, this is obviously just meditation, especially if you're in this kind of energy and this kind of energy comes up for you this week or is surrounding you right now. This meditation is, not meditation as in like, let's fix ourselves and be calm and control ourselves, but meditation as in an exploration or allowing things to come up, allowing just getting in touch with our feelings and allowing things to come up and come to our attention. Quieting the mind, not forcefully, of course, but allowing a quietness, a natural quietness to blanket the mind and allowing other things to come up. Often our deeper emotions or true emotions, especially if you're in anger, it is a really great exercise to get grounded and understand, not to stifle it, but understand it, to get underneath that anger and understand where your vulnerability is or the sadness or what that anger is a cover for. Not so that we can control it and silence it, but so that we can understand ourselves better. And so meditation will take you there. And then we have trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? So you're trying to get somewhere, you're trying to go somewhere, and there's going to be some obstacles and some difficulty there. Trusting that you'll be able to find your way through and you'll be able to find your way to where you want to go. Probably a peaceful, good night's sleep. Finding your way there. There's going to be some difficulty, some shifting sands. I always see this as sort of the shifting, things shifting around and moving around. That's my heater. It's very loud. So we're turning it off before it gets all the way on. So if you knew you would be supported, what would you do? So, and this can also be dealing with this conflict. If you knew, what do you want? If you knew that whatever you asked for, whatever you said would be okay, what would you do? So getting in touch with your path and not necessarily getting waylaid by this wrath or this battle. So Taurus, this is your past, your present, your inner landscape. What's at issue? Your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome? how is this possible? I like double shuffled everything. And you're basically getting, and this in particular, I just kind of zoned out and shuffled and shuffled and shuffled. And yet here we have a reading that is so Taurus, has almost all of the same cards as Taurus in different places, of course, but that's fascinating to me. I love how that happens. I'm sure there's some sort of logical explanation, and also why it happened today, why it happened now. That's the part that's the mystery. In your recent past, you have the Hermit card, time out. This could be some isolation. This could be self-isolating on purpose, or just having life do that to you. Some sort of isolation, or some sort of step away from roles, from patterns, from things that you're supposed to do and be, and getting in touch with your own North Star. Who are you? Where do you want to go? What do you want out of this situation? And really getting in touch with that, with your own North Star, your own inner guidance system, and having that show you the world, having that light up your world, and having that show you where you want to go next. I mean, this light is so bright, but it does take some, actually it's just getting grounded is what I feel like about this, is that this is that meditation, that allowing that inner wisdom to come up as we sort of quiet this down, and take some time out and some time away from our lives and from our roles and from our expectations and from the busyness and from the connections. When we're always connected to other people, we're always responding and interacting, not necessarily creating our own intention, but we can always be responding and interacting. But this Hermit card speaks to this getting grounded, time away, to create your own intention and not just be in a reactive mode. In your current situation, you have Three of Cups. So maybe you're friends with a Taurus. You have this Three of Cups here, a circle of friends. That's either getting together, sharing their hopes, their fears. This could be a support group. This could be some actual friends that you get together with, in some sort of circle. You're inside the circle. This could be a clique type behavior, where we have a circle, and then that circle defines who's in and who's out of the circle. But I like to see it, so that's a possibility, but it could just be more of a friendship vibe. There's some sort of, it doesn't necessarily have to be a group of friends, or it could just be one friend. And this is the sharing of the hopes, the fears, and of our lives, and just some nice, beautiful sharing. You're having an opportunity to share with someone right now, on a friendship level. And that doesn't mean they don't mean more to you than friendship, but there is that friendship relating, that aspect of that. And then in your inner landscape, what you're thinking about, your hopes, your fears, you might be thinking about someone, male or female, or you could be thinking about yourself and how to be, what you want to be. You might want to be this King of Cups, extreme, very emotionally mature person. Their feelings come, their feelings go. They listen to their feelings. They don't suppress their feelings. They don't control their feelings. They allow their feelings to come up. And even though there's a huge depth there, they're still able to ride them and really use their feelings as information. Nothing more, nothing less than, the same sensory information we're going to get from our hands and our eyes and all of that, and using that information to make conscious choices and decisions. So this King of Wands, this is a lot of emotional maturity. You're looking to be emotionally mature in some sort of situation that may involve a friendship, may involve relationships. This man of emotional maturity, it's not that he will never engage in the battle. It's not that he never experiences wrath. It's that he has figured out his best ways for processing that, for understanding that, and for expressing it when it's called for. So it's being able to be very zen and not zen, that has this like suppressed quality idea to it. But he works with his emotions, and he can ride those emotions. More like, this is a ship that's very steady, but I see more like a surfer riding and enjoying and getting feedback from those waves of emotions, from those waves that come through, and not just staying still, but actually being able to move and use what's coming up, and use that depth of emotion, and use those waves of emotion that come through our sort of oceans of self here. So there's a huge depth of emotion. You may be wondering if you can handle this much, if you're going to be able to maturely deal with this. This could be something that's on your mind. You might be worried about being able to handle sort of some of the depths of emotion that you may have uncovered or you may be experiencing right now. I like the idea that you're hopeful that you can handle them. You can ride this out in a mature way. I like that. You're looking to do that and hoping to do that. Temperance, of course. With this Wrath card here, it's really coloring everything. We've got this temperance in reverse. So temperance is about time, edges being smoothed over, things being blended, things being sort of sanded down. There's something here that's still pretty rough, pretty hot to handle here. Time has not taken the edge off, taken the heat off of this. It's still pretty intense here. Things haven't blended. Things haven't, whatever's in its has dug in its feet in its corners is not coming together, is not, there's not been a truce. There's not been anything. There's still something that's very intense, very heavy, very difficult to handle here. Time has not healed this wound. There has been the rough edges are all rough. The intensity is still intense. There's not been a blending or a softening or anything going on in this situation. Yeah, right? No softening. So this Knight card could also be related to this Hermit card here, as far as taking a break, taking a time out from the norm to get in touch, or to rejuvenate, or for to find your own purpose here. Although the Knight speaks more to rest, both of them speak about time out from the norm. Time out from obligations, from busyness, from a situation, in order to get more clear on what it is that you actually want here. In your environment, you have the world, the things outside of your control. Again, we got that a little bit with this Luck card. Things outside of your control, things, there's a whole lot going on that in other people's lives, in our lives, that we can't control. We're all part of this, this giant, we're all on this planet. None of us can control the seasons, the axial tilt, the rotations, the big cycles going on here. And this also speaks to this. So this is like all that stuff that's way outside of our control. We don't get to say in the moment in history in which we're born. We don't get a say in the weather. There's a lot we have a say in. Mostly it's in here, and we barely have a say in that, as these two cards can attest. And this card too, we barely have a say in what's going on inside. We certainly have some constraints on what we do get to accomplish externally. The World card is also the final card of the major arcana. So it is a huge cycle ending, a huge part of your life ending. And it could take a season, it could take a year or two. It's just it's got its own process, it's got its own timeline, it's got its own situation that you don't necessarily get to control the timeline. You don't necessarily get a say in how long it takes for this thing to wind down or end. The World card can also be about being right back where you started. Some things ended and the cycle has been completed, and now we're right back where we began, right back there. So it's things ending, things completing, things outside of our control. There's a real I don't want to say submission, but that's what came up again with Taurus's reading too. Submission, surrender. There's a real surrender, or acceptance of things we don't get to control. We don't get to control other people. We don't get to control our moment in history. There's things we can control, and at that, just barely this part, but there's a lot outside of that realm. And then in your to-do list, your area for greatest growth. This is really interesting because we have the Temperance card, which talks to me about two things blend in the upright would be about two things blending. We're starting to realize maybe that these two things aren't going to blend, that this isn't going to soften, this isn't going to ease up. It could be our own emotions that we're not able to ease up on. It could be the whole situation. We don't get to control how it's going. But the Two of Pentacles talks about two things being juggled. So there could be something that's come in here into your life, and you're working to integrate it. You're working to juggle something. And it takes intention, right? A juggler is paying close attention to each item as it happens in his hand, right? And is paying close attention to what does this ball need? What does this moment need? What does this person need from me? What does this job need from me? And then being very attentive, like this getting grounded card, just being very attentive and present to that, letting it go so that you can grab the next thing and pay attention to it. So it's negotiation. It can be negotiating between two parties that constantly need negotiation, or two aspects of your life that need negotiation. And it can be juggling, just having to juggle something. The infinity sign here means that it's not easy. Well, we've got the precarious balance. So this is a recognition that it is not easy, that it is not, this is like the third time this week that this card has shown up in this exact spot. Maybe the fourth time. Anyway, it's not easy. It's precarious. It's difficult. It's going to take a lot of work, but you can do it. This card is here to say you can do it. You can successfully negotiate this battle. You can successfully negotiate these feelings. You can successfully juggle all of this. Because actually wrath is a pretty terrible, I mean, it can instigate this fight, but this battle, but it's not a very strategic place to be coming from. But this almost has like you can figure this out. Okay. You can figure out how to handle these intense emotions you're feeling. This reverse Temperance card is also referencing these intense emotions. You can juggle these different things, and you can negotiate, not necessarily from this place of wrath, but you will be able to negotiate this. So it is a Two of Pentacles is a you can do this. It's going to be hard card, but you can do this. And then we have the Chariot. The Chariot is movement forward, maybe slow movement, but it's movement forward. Sometimes the Chariot can be things coming together. The aspects coming together, when we have several horses working together in the Chariot, and it's usually depicted as a couple different elements needing to come together to create movement forward. So, if there is a battle, if there is this digging in of sides and stuff, you can negotiate this. And when you get these in sync, you're going to move forward inch by inch, but it's growth. There will be slow, steady growth, increased understanding, increased growth and movement towards what it is that you want. Trust your path. So this is the Chariot card, you can go there, you can get to where you want to go, you can, but you're going to have to be clever. You're going to have to be more strategic than just blunt wrath. And you're going to, or just responsive, you're going to have to not be, you're going to have to, you can get there. You can get there. You don't have to be like just responding to things, but you can get this under control. You can balance this. It is precarious, and you can move forward to where you want to go. But I think there's just a lot of shifting sands here, and a lot of movement and a lot of moving parts. So, all right, Gemini, I hope that was helpful for you. And I hope you have a great week. Or so. These are coming out, these are trickling out a little slower. My schedule in other parts of my life just went crazy, and so I'm moving a little more slowly than I have been through these. But I don't know. We're doing what we can with what we got here. So anyway, I don't know. I'll do this probably in another 2 weeks, maybe. Who knows?